Yeah, I'm not.
Hit the balance.
We're ready.
Hang it up.
Good morning. I would like to call to order the Pasco County Board of County 10 a.m. meeting of September 15th, 2021. At this time, please silence all electronic devices and mute your microphones. Please rise for the invocation and pledge.
O merciful Creator, your hand is open wide to satisfy the needs of every living creature. Make us thankful for your loving providence and grant that we, remembering the account that we must one day give, may be faithful stewards of your good gifts. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Here.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey. Here. District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick. Here. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Here.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Here. All commissioners are present. This time, let's see here. Now's the time for public comment. Citizens are given an opportunity to comment on any item coming before the board on any items to be in the future board agenda for other business under their purview. Today's public comment will be handled as follows. First, we will take public comment from those who are here in person. Then we will take public comment from those who have pre-registered on WebEx link and are currently on queue. This format does not waive the request that when you address the board, comments are not directed personally against a commissioner or a team member, but rather to the issues, and this provides mutual respect between the board members and the public. For WebEx and in-person participants, after stating your name and address for the clerk, the timer will be activated and will start a countdown. After 2 minutes, a beep will sound, letting you know that only 1 minute remains. After your time is up, 2 beeps will sound, indicating that 3 minutes have passed and you should end your comments. WebEx participants will be disconnected automatically when their time is up. The following people have signed up to speak in public comment.
The first person,
Go ahead.
The first person signed up is Pastor Troy Peterson. Please state your name and address for the record and then begin your comments.
Hallelujah. Troy Peterson, 6827 Sandra Drive, Port Richey, Florida.
Thank you.
Thank you. First off, I want to thank all the commissioners and the staff for serving our community. Thank you, Nikki, for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm a veteran and I'm all about that, and for the invocation. I'm also on the board of directors for the Continuum of Care for the Pasco County Homeless Coalition. I'd like to thank you, Commissioner Mariano, for opening that door through giving me words of wisdom and advice, which opened the door with Marcy from Community Development. And I'm also part of a group of pastors called Somebody Cares International. And Commissioner Fitzpatrick, thank you so much for coming to the Somebody Cares Tampa Bay Gala. We had a great time. She was able to see really what our mission is to pray for our governing authorities and to be ready for every good and perfect work, like the backpack giveaways. We do have the Care Fest coming up. I want to invite you all to that. That's September 25th, where we take on projects in the community as the body of Christ, working together with our governing authorities. So we're doing this in Waterfront Park, your district there, Commissioner Mariano, working with the city of Port Richey. And we have 19 projects through elderly nutrition and code enforcement that will be going out to go and take care of. And so we want to invite you to that if you would like to adopt a project, maybe through your office or through your church or whatever you want to do, just get with me. I want to make that available to you. Also, the Word of God says in Colossians 1:3, we give thanks to God, the Father of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, praying for you. And so I want you to know that there is a group of pastors in this region that are praying specifically 2 days a week. Tuesday morning and at noon, I got to be at another prayer meeting. We're praying for you. We're praying for God's wisdom to rest upon you. We're praying for favor with your families. We're praying. The other thing is, I would like to present to you the opportunity to pray, to do the invocation before the commissioners' meetings. Because, yes, we pray to our Creator, but the only way that God is going to honor our prayers if they line up with the Word of God. And the Word of God says in John 14, now this is Jesus speaking to his disciples. He says, let not your hearts be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man may come to the Father but through me. See, we do not have access to go to a holy God, the Creator, without going through Jesus Christ. He made that way for us. He is the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody come to the Father but through the Son. And so what I would propose to do is that I will head it up. I'd be willing to come and pray before all your commissioners' meeting. If I can't personally be here to do that, I would pick and assign a pastor or a leader in the community that I have a relationship with, that I trust is going to pray according to the Word of God.
Thank you.
I present that to you. I appreciate your time in this
All right.
matter.
Thank you for your
God
comments.
bless.
Yes, sir.
The next person signed up is Marty Lester.
Good morning, Commissioners and all others present. I come before you this morning.
State your name and address for the clerk.
Okay. My name is Marlita Lassiter. I go by Marty in my neighborhood, and I live at 9457 Nile Drive in Newport Richey, which is adjacent to the Oaks Park on Amazon Drive. First of all, to give you a little history, an MSBU was signed creating this park back in 2014 at the June 24th commission meeting. And we have not had that assessment implemented, and there was some concern recently about the property being considered for development. And I can tell you that my neighborhood and all the neighborhoods surrounding that piece of property would be severely impacted if that happened. I have the history, and also from my subdivision, which is not an HOA, I have 134 signatures that are in favor of that particular park being enacted and the tax assessment being filed.
Can I have a
So-
motion to receive and file, please?
Second.
Okay, we gotta give
We
them
could
a
bring that up here.
Hand it to the clerk. You got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
There is also a letter there from Jan Manforty from one of the HOAs. She was not able to attend. The other concern I'd like to address is the fact that we do have severe flooding in our area. We have a main drainage right-of-way that runs behind my property, and I have submitted copies of the flooding to Christina Fitzpatrick, and been in touch with her aide on that as well. And we have a lot of standing water in our neighborhood, and if we were to if we were to include the development of that area, it would impact us all. And I appreciate your time and consideration.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Next person.
So sorry. The next person signed up is Robert Mitchell. And then the next person after Mr. Mitchell is Tanya Slayer.
State your name and address for the clerk.
My name's Robert Mitchell. I live at 9322 Sacramento Drive, Riverside Village. I've lived there for 31 years, and I don't plan on wanting a 285 unit going 5 blocks down the street from me. There's only 2 ways into that development, through Heritage Lake and Riverside Village. Right now, the people that exit the River Chase subdivision goes out through our exit now. And also now, if you're gonna put that development in the back where it was already, the Oaks Park had an MSU on June 24th, 2014, which you guys, some of you that are still on the board, was finalized under ordinance 1410, which created that park. And you were opposed to assessment for everybody for $135 for 15 years. We never followed through with it. It's still sitting there. And we want it to fall through. Okay? There's no way that that traffic, you figure 285 units, that's at least 400 cars. Everybody's got 2 cars now, every family. Going out, I think, 1 street, which has been torn up twice from trucks and everything for being building in River Chase and Southern Oaks behind us. We're not the only ones that are affected by this. Heritage Lake is affected by it. River Village Estates was also affected by it, in Southern Oaks. So we would like for you to continue with your plans in 2014 and not build that apartment complex. Sorry to say.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Tanya Slayer, and after Ms. Sawyer, is John Russell.
Hi, I'm Tanya Salyer. I live at 10700 Philly Lane in Hudson. I'm back to address the flooding, which has only gotten worse. This isn't the first, second, or even third time I've asked you guys for help, and I'm asking on behalf of our entire community. As of this morning, and I do intend to send all of you the pictures, as of this morning, Philly Lane is currently under about 2 feet of water. Our property is flooding massively. On April 9th, 2020, I was told, and I have this in writing from one of the representatives, one of the engineers that was out there, while we're awaiting the results of the aforementioned watershed study, which will take 5 years, we stand ready to deploy a pumping system when and if the need arises. Then on April 28th, I was told we will be monitoring the situation and investigating. We will continue to monitor the water levels on and around Philly Lane. If the levels, along with the forecast, become threatening, we will execute the pumping option. August 5th. After repeated attempts, I finally received an answer stating we wouldn't consider pumping until it's above 15. The water meter that you guys put in is above 15.5. It has been above 15.5 for a month. It is very, very close. If not, I couldn't check it today because I would have to go through mud and water in order to do it. We can't even drive our cars out of our driveway. The gauge has been up there for over a month. I've been repeatedly asking, I've been repeatedly emailing. We ask for the same considerations that you give other developments. The ones surrounding Yellow Lake and on Yellow Lake Drive. I have friends over there. I've spoken to them. I want to know why the county was ready and willing to pump out there as soon as their backyards flooded. And we received nothing. I know that these communities contacted you guys ahead of time. I know you guys started pumping ahead of time. It's the same thing that we want. I've heard every possible excuse. I have a list of them, actually, and some of them are pretty funny if you guys want a good laugh. We've lived there for 40 years. This is the second time in that 40 years, and in the last 2 years, that this has happened. We started communicating with you guys back in April of 2019, asking for help. We're given promises, we're given assurances, and nothing has come of it so far. Now, we did have a meeting on Meridian Boulevard, but that was about Meridian Boulevard, which is also a private road. The outcome of that meeting is still kind of up in the air. We don't want anything special. We just want what you're giving other communities and what you promised us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, do you mind if I just ask a question real quick?
Go ahead.
Somebody may know the answer. I remember when the surrounding areas around Bass Lake and in
Right.
that area. I don't know if that was Commissioner Mariano's or Fitzpatrick back then, Wells's district. Okay. There was a pump out there, and there was a pump that was out of one of the neighborhoods that you worked on, Commissioner Mariano, that you eventually got a fix to it. I remember.
Yeah.
And there was a pump out there on a regular basis. Is that a possibility at this location to at least make the roads passable into the meantime?
Well, I tell you, I'm going to bring up one item on Meridian, on the committee reports, on Philly Lane. Matter of fact, if this lady wants to do it, I've got another person who's volunteers will be a petition leader. I think if we take that road up, and 2 feet might be the number to raise it up, put a couple culverts going through, at least the road's passable. But again, it's going to take a paving assessment to go forward. From that point, it should alleviate. It's a bottom of a basin, it's tough to go through. They are studying it, and I hate to say it does take time to study these things. Don Carey was out there with me, Fig was out there as well, so they are looking at the area. It's going to take time to come up with a solution, Mr. Chairman, as you said on Swiftwood, you know. So it is going to be worked on. It is at the bottom of the hill. When I first was elected, they used to pump up the hill and would come back down the hill. So I think the first fix is to raise that road up a couple of feet, do a paving on it, so at least the road's passable. We can look to do a whole paving assessment for the whole neighborhood and do everything together too. So I plan to come back out there, but again, today's, and my committee reports, we're gonna look at least fixing Meridian, and if you'll be one of the willing to lead us, please talk with, I see Mr. Carbell is there, Ainsley won't be here till later on, but if we get your name, information, et cetera, we can reach out to you, and if you want to be a petition leader as well to kind of get the neighborhood, I'd be happy to come out to the church that's out there. I spoke there before, and we can talk about what we think we can do out there, at least now, while the study's being done.
Yeah. I just wondered if there's a way to pump now, if that would
Don Carey, can you come up
alleviate
and
it.
address that?
Okay. Let's have somebody do some work on that.
Do you want to bring Don, because Don's familiar
Let's
with
look
it.
at that, and when we get to our comments from each of the individuals, then we'll discuss it at that time.
Okay.
So give us some information, you reach out and find out some of that for us. Ms. Fitzpatrick, you had something you want to comment on?
I confirm, no mind.
Okay, we'll just wait. All right. Next individual.
John Russell, followed by Tim Gremwalls.
Name and address.
My name is John Russell, live at 9652 Cavendish Court. It's in Heritage Lake community, and first time I've been to one of your meetings, so I didn't get too nervous. I'm going to read what I wanted to say.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm here, basically I'm on the Oaks Park MSBU. My wife and I have lived in District 4 for over 7 years, and for the last 2 years we've lived in Heritage Lake. We know that there are approximately 1,600 residences that live within 1/2 mile radius of the Oaks Park. And those 1,600 residents likely represent over 3,000 voters. And a majority of these voters are senior citizens, and the vast majority of those voters live on fixed incomes. I have personally attended 5 recent meetings of various HOA boards and committees, wherein all attendees were asked to raise their hands if they supported the MSBU. Each time there was 100% raising of hands in support of this MSBU. I have a few questions that kind of remained unanswered. The property is named the Oaks Park. There were promises made that this property is a park and will remain a park. If that is true, why is this property still zoned 5 MF, multifamily? Second question I would have is, why hasn't this agreement been implemented? Why this 6-7 year delay in implementing this? Third question relates to another claim made by county officials regarding the environmental concerns for this property. The property will remain a preserve forever and the county will never sell it. Yes, I know that verbal claims are only worth the paper they're not written on. Has the board, as the legal owners of this property, ever considered setting it aside under your own ELAMP program? This property is indeed a sensitive cypress swamp combined with a unique upland environment containing dozens of species of mammals, birds, and reptiles. There are at least 5 endangered or threatened species living there, and many photos and videos are in our possession to confirm these. My wife and I really want this sensitive property left alone and protected by law. And if for whatever reason you cannot make this happen, we do strongly support our commissioner, Christina Fitzpatrick, and urge the commission to move forward with the implementation of this MSBU. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
Mr. Biles, because, we're getting these comments this morning, do you think it would be okay if you explain just what you guys are doing so they have just a little information and let them know what's coming?
Yeah, we're working up the various options, either for the MSBU or whether we
Sure.
ask.
You have to go back to the microphone, you can't.
We're working up the various options for what various levels of park MSBU would look like from a cost perspective, because this is not the type of park the county owns and operates. We do district parks or larger regional parks. We also will, as part of that, will look at, if the county was more inclined to sell the property, certainly also what that would look like too. So we are working up those various options, and we'll be contacting homeowners associations and working through the various boards that are part of the current MSBU.
Right, so each HOA is going to be getting a letter fairly soon, and then there'll be more discussion on it, so nothing's happening, and, yeah, you don't want to go any deeper into that? Okay, well, we'll go into it.
Mr. Chairman.
Ultimately, the board will have to take some action to do something.
Yeah, I mean, something's going to happen, it's just, y'all will be included in that decision. And information is coming to you, because some of the things that have been said here are not quite what's going on.
Okay.
Accurate,
Mr.
yeah.
Chairman.
So I just, don't worry.
Okay, next individual to speak. Yes.
Okay. I would like to speak on this topic because last time I did mention I would like to move forward and I was going to receive letters from each of the 5 boards. And I do have in my hand, and also they presented it this morning, from Riverside Village Estates Homeowners Association, Miriam Butler for the president. They have stated they do want to move forward with the MSBU. Another community in there has signed with 134 signatures that they want to continue to move forward with the MSBU. It was my understanding last time we were just going in to confirm, to receive a letter from each of the HOAs so we could move forward in this process. Because I did attend the board meeting that Mr. John Russell had spoke of, one of them, and there was 100%, there was 5 HOAs that were there present that evening that wanted to move forward with the MSBU that was originally set up in 2014.
Mr. Chairman? And I think if
Don't
she...
forget, this is a public hearing.
Yeah, this
No,
is
no, I was
not-
Bring
going to
that
say,
up.
I think if she wants to talk about it more, we should talk about it more on the committee reports coming up.
Right.
But I
Right.
think with the people there, if they want to hang in for
I
that,
just-
that'd be great, but I think
Yeah.
it should be done quickly as we finish the
Next
public hearing.
individual.
Next individual, Tom Grimwaltz, and then followed by Bill Gillies.
Good morning. My name is Tim Gromlovitz. I live at 4735 Coachman Road in Heritage Lake in Newport Richey. And I just want to state that our community in Heritage Lake, 942 homes, is 100% behind moving forward with the MSBU. I was on the committee in 2012 through 2014 when this whole issue was hashed out. I mean, all of the issues were covered, and the conclusion was that the MSBU was the best for this community. So I just want to state that our community and everyone I know around the entire area is in favor of moving forward with the MSBU. And thank you, Mr. Patrick, for the support.
Okay, thank you.
Which committee?
Bill Gillies is the next up, followed by Penelope Russell, and that is the last person I have signed up is Ms. Russell.
My name is William Gillis. I live at 9841 Elvernon Drive, Newport Richey, Florida. That's Riverside Village Estates, known as Riverside number 4, Riverside Village number 4. I headed up in 2012 a group called 5533. We spent 2 years hashing over this particular piece of property and came up with a resolution, thanks to Ms. Starkey. It was signed by Mr. Mariano, and all the commissioners voted on it then. Why I'm back here, I don't know. You guys made promises. If you want us to stop being cynical about government, keep your promises. This was settled in 2014. I shouldn't have to drive from Newport Richey back over here to restate our case. I don't know what happened to this MSBU in the interim. It says ordinance 1410, but then when I look it up on the Pasco County website here, it's a supplement history table. It says omitted. I don't know what that process is, what your process is. But whatever it is, you need to get it moving. We're not going down this road again, I can promise you that. I've already been in contact with our attorney, and it's the same attorney that we had in 2014. He knows the history. 2 of you sitting on this panel right now know the history. Let the rest of them know, and let's get this settled. We shouldn't have to do this. Community is not. That's enough.
Thank you.
All right, the last person signed up, Penelope Russell.
Penelope Russell, 9652 Cavendish Court, Newport Richey. I think everything I wanted to say has already been said, so I don't want to waste anyone's time. I would like to personally thank, and first time I've met Commissioner Fitzpatrick, I know she's been actively involved in attempting to resolve this in a manner, and I must say it feels as though it's genuine. And I will end as the last gentleman said, I think enough said already. Do something.
All right, thank you. Is anyone else here to speak to any item at this public comment period? Anybody on WebEx?
No one's on WebEx, sir.
Okay. Okay, so at this time, we will close the public comment portion of the meeting, and we'll move on to Resolution 1.
Is Sam Bennick here? Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
You did.
Okay, good. Then please come to the podium. Resolution number 21-280, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, congratulating Sam Bennick for receiving the Florida Bicycle Association Professional of the Year 2020 award. Whereas Florida Bicycle Association awards are presented to worthy recipients for their contributions to bicycling. The purpose of the award is to bring attention to the efforts and achievements of groups, organizations, and individuals that help shape the vision for all Florida bicyclists to be safe, respected, and encouraged to bicycle for transportation and recreation, And whereas the Florida Bicycle Association recognized Sam Bennick for his involvement as project manager of the Ridge Road Extension Project. And whereas the Ridge Road Extension Project will include a multi-use path that will connect the Suncoast Parkway Trail. And whereas the Ridge Road Extension Project will also provide additional roadway capacity and improved routing away from the coastal hazard areas and improve hurricane evacuation clearance times in the event of a hurricane or other major weather-related occurrence in accordance with state of Florida requirements and Pasco County's current comprehensive plan. And whereas Sam's other projects now being enjoyed by cyclists include the Starkey Gap Trail and the Anclote Coastal Trail. And whereas Sam is an avid cyclist and adds this passion to his work to ensure safety for all users. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby congratulates Sam Bennick for receiving the Florida Bicycle Association Professional of the Year 2020 Award. Done and resolved in regular session with the quorum present and voting this 15th day of September 2021.
So Sam, this is a little late in coming, but, motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0.
I think I met Sam working on the Starkey Gap Trail. Is that when I first started interacting with you? Yeah, and through the coastal trail, and now the trail coming along on Ridge Road. Of course, that's the Ridge Road's the big project, and the trail is the ancillary project. But I've been so impressed with your professionalism, and I've really, really enjoyed all the times we've driven around and looked at routes and construction issues, and I just think that you are very well deserved of this honor, and I'm so glad they gave it to you. It's really wonderful when you have someone working on a project who actually is a user of the type of project you're building. So I think it really helps that Sam is such a big cyclist when he's building these trails and understands, how they're used. So.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words. All the projects outlined, I'm just the end of the road. It's with the support of the board, the planning of the other county employees, and especially the Penny projects, the support of the citizens that we're able to get here. So it's really a county award, but I'm very honored to be able to accept it for us.
Great. All right, let's go down and take a photo with you. Tina, I don't know if you want to come up too.
Everybody gather a little closer if you don't mind.
Congratulations, Sam. Do you have that other resolution?
Okay, good.
He's got it. Okay.
Things on hold.
Do you?
No, you. Just make
All right. The next order of business is consent agenda. I have a pull sheet with 2 items on it. One is C38 to be withdrawn, and then C2 to pull and discuss. Okay, any other items you want to pull?
Seeing none, move approval of the remaining consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0. All right, C2.
C2, Mr. Chairman, the reason I pulled those, I think we have April here. April, come forward. She wanted to be here for the presentation, so instead of following consent, we'll do a presentation if we could.
Wonderful. Ms. April, please stand up to the podium. Resolution number 21-279, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, proclaiming September 12th through September 18th, 2021 as National Assisted Living Week. Whereas in 1995, the National Center for Assisted Living established National Assisted Living Week to honor the contributions of assisted living communities in providing long-term care to American seniors and individuals with disabilities. And whereas this year's theme of National Assisted Living Week, Compassion, Community, Caring, highlights the incredible care and compassion provided by essential caregivers in assisted living facilities across the county. And whereas assisted living is a critical long-term care option for older adults and individuals with disabilities that fosters choice, dignity, and independence. And whereas assisted living communities are committed to excellence, innovation, and advancement of person-centered care. And whereas residents of assisted living communities are active members of the large community, offering their knowledge, life experiences, and involvement, their past contributions continue to be a vital part of Pasco County's rich history, and their ongoing participation deepens Pasco County's identity. And whereas during this special week, assisted living communities across the country are encouraged to organize activities and events which celebrate the dedication of staff, the individuality of residents, and the deep connections formed in these settings, while adhering to COVID-19 safety requirements and precautions. And whereas citizens are encouraged to virtually visit or call a loved one, family member, or friend residing in any care setting and offer a kind word and spend time participating in various virtual activities to unite those from all walks of life in need of our continuing love and support, and to learn more about assisted living services in Pasco County. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby proclaims the week of September 12th through the 18th, 2021 as Assisted Living Week in Pasco County. Done and resolved in regular session with the quorum present and voting this 15th day of September 2021.
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed 5-0. Welcome.
Thank you.
April let's stay right there. We're going to come down and we got a little gift for you. But we greatly appreciate the great work you do with assisted living facilities. It is such a critical time of life for our people. We've heard horror stories what's happened up in other places of the country that we just didn't get those same stories here. The work you do for people at this such critical time of life is just greatly appreciated. It takes a special person to go do it, and I appreciate you and all your team members and all your colleagues that do it.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Just on behalf of the staff and the residents at our community, we thank you. It's some of you have actually been to our community. We had somebody who turned 100 a couple years ago. He was a veteran, and I invited everybody, even the President of the United States, but you all came. So thank you for that. But assisted living is very crucial, and I don't think that it gets enough recognition nationwide. But thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
The residents are very important people.
Yes, they are.
They should be very important people to everybody, not just us.
I think we all appreciate, especially when we go see a centurion and present those awards and see the enthusiasm they have for life itself still at that point. So it's great. Would you all like to join us?
Okay.
Where's Kathy Pearson? Come on up here, Kathy. How are you? Good.
Okay, now's the time for the regular agenda. and we're going to take up R97
Mr. Chairman?
after the other three.
Could I just make a suggestion?
What?
Well, right now, we've got people from the Riverside that drove all the way over, and I think the lady from Philly Lane. If Commissioner Fitzpatrick and I could just even touch on those two spots for our committee reports, we'll let the rest of the shelf. I think it'll be good for the folks, if you wouldn't mind.
Which one's that?
For committee reports, for Commissioner Fitzpatrick to talk about Riverside, the MSBU, and I can address Philly Lane real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be, for these people to make the drive all the way over here, I think it'd be appropriate, and then we go back to the rest of the stuff.
And then go back to
We'll go back to just
Okay.
where we're going.
We can do that.
That's fine. And I got one thing I have to do before break too, because I have somebody here. We're gonna take a picture at break, so just so you know, I'll just make sure we sneak that in right before break.
Right, okay.
If we don't get to the committee.
I don't think
All
there's,
right.
Okay.
We can take care of that. Not a problem. Commissioner Fitzpatrick?
Like I was saying before, everyone on the dais, we had the motion to receive and file. We had there were 5 homeowners associations in this, or 4 homeowners associations, and 1 that was not a homeowners association. I just want to confirm, I wanted to make sure I received a letter from each of the homeowners association, how they would like to proceed to move forward. We had the Riverside Village Estates Homeowners Association. The president of the board had agreed to move forward with the MSBU. We had Heritage Lakes with the 942 homes, spoke today, that would like to move forward. We have Riverside Village Estates number 4. Is that separate from the other one? From William Gillis, move forward with the MSBU. We have Riverside Village, which was the attached 134 signatures, I believe, that would like to move forward with the MSBU. And I have also met, there was about 20 people at the meeting, the Homeowners Association meeting on August 20th. Everyone there that evening was in favor to move forward with the MSBU. So due to the letters that I have received in favor of, with the majority of the communities and the emails and petitions, I would like to move forward with the MSBU.
So I think we need another hearing, don't we?
I don't think so, because
No,
we've
no.
already got it set up.
You've already adopted the ordinance, which means you had the public hearing. So the next, if you wish to move forward, the next step you would have to take is a notification to the property appraiser and the tax collector that this will be on next year's tax bill.
There are,
Some people that will be carved out.
there are some things that are not hashed out in that MSBU that I think the administrator wanted to make sure that the homeowners were aware of. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As far as future assessments, so, this all just kind of snowballed before we were ready to send you these letters. So we just want to be sure that you know what you're voting on before the MSBU is set up. The county wants to do, right, what the homeowners want through their association boards. We just want to make sure you know what the next steps are. And that's what this letter that is coming to you is going to entail. But if you just want to go ahead and do the MSBU without knowing that,
Yeah.
because there's future ramifications, financial, that we just want to make sure you know about.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman?
So-
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Mr. Moore.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I was before my time, and I know you guys agreed on that and everything. I still think you need to have this discussion on the west side of the county. I've got a number of emails from a number of residents in your communities as well that wanted the opportunity to speak. I have a number of people from the Oaks Park, is that correct? The Oaks as well.
No, that's the name of the property.
Okay, okay, that's fine. I'm just telling you what I got emails on. So I've had a number of emails, so I think you need to make sure you bring this back to the west side so you give everybody an opportunity to come and have that conversation, be a part of that conversation. I don't think, you shouldn't take action on the east side for a west side item like this, you know?
But, yeah, so.
No clapping.
And going back to that, I personally don't want to open up the MSBU again. We had that vote. We went through all that heartache and craziness, and we set up a great plan. Unfortunately, it sat there, not being used, and we can't do that because that's $3 million out of general revenue. And I've talked to a number of people in all the communities so they understand that that's general revenue money that has to be paid back. We do other MSBUs. We approved a bunch this morning, and it's just something that we need to take care of. And I know that some of our legislators tried to get that money from the state, but the governor vetoed it every time because it's not in the state interest to buy that land for the neighborhood. We're kind of going through the same process in Gulf Harbors, and we're setting up a council that will oversee the administration of our park and what we want in it, say a dog park, tennis court, whatever it is allowed. Our rules are a little different because we have DEP involved, but the maintenance of your park is going to fall on, you know, the HOAs are involved in the MSBU. The county will help with that with the fee like they're doing at the other ones. And we just want to make sure, you know, that because we didn't go through that when we set up the MSBU. That was really kind of the first one we had done like this. But on the other side, it wouldn't be, if there was a surplus and the county sold that property, and again, we're going to do what you have, you know, what you guys want, because we are the landowner now and not the developer, and we couldn't control what the developer was doing there. If you remember, there was a lawsuit and all that. We have the ability to take the numbers down from 285 to much lower that would get us back the $3 million. We're not in the business of making a profit. We just need to get that $3 million back to the general. So it wouldn't be, I just wanted to correct the facts that some that were said here, that there would not be, if there would not be 285 apartments there, there would be fee simple, which means privately owned residences there, not apartments. So I don't know if we're going to go down that road. We just want you to know the facts of the other side if there was a surplus. But I don't, and Mr. Attorney, I don't know. I mean, we don't have to vote on a new MSBU. We just have to decide to enact this one.
You guys should not take action on the east side of the county for something that should be happening on the west side. Give those people an opportunity to come. Yeah, I know. I just don't want to make sure we're not taking actions
Mr. Chairman.
today.
Wait a minute. Mr. Steinstein.
So the next action that would be necessary is the agreement with the tax collector and the property appraiser to put it on the following year's tax bill, and you need to take that action before December 31st of this year.
Right.
To get it on the 23.
So the right thing to do would be bring it back on the west side where this property lies and hear comments over there before we take an action without hearing those folks.
In the meantime, you'll get that letter.
The appropriate thing to do is if the board wishes to hear from everybody who's affected by the MSBU, they can, but the legal next step is, and I believe it's an interlocal agreement, that would be the board action that would have to be taken to add this to the rolls. And that would be an item that would either be on consent or regular, and you would get public comment at that time as well.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay. So the MSBU was already voted on. The next step was, there was $3.225 million that would have been distributed amongst every household, which was about $138. At that point, it was, what we would have to work out is, would the property be handed over to the homeowners, or would the property continue to stay part of Pasco County and we maintain it, but then the fees to maintain it would be set back on the homeowners?
There's no legal mechanism to turn it over to the homeowners.
Mr. Chairman, can we bring this back as an agenda item at the next meeting of the west side so we can actually go through the proper process and have staff put it on the agenda so we can have a discussion that's on the agenda.
Mr. Mariano?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As someone who voted on this many years ago, and Commissioner Starkey, I want to commend you. When this was going through, it looked like it was going to be a very difficult situation, what was going to go on in that property. Your leadership at that point brought it to the table to have a better option. Now, having said that, we went through a thorough process. We had all sorts of participation, feedback from the people that are sitting in the audience and their friends around it. They spoke very clearly they wanted the MSBU.
Yep.
Now, why the MSBU didn't get done, I don't know.
Right.
But it's not something you really kind of, once you vote on something, you accept it's going to happen. So it didn't get done. I think very clearly, I don't need to go through that whole thing again. We've heard it. They want to buy it, the 5 letters. Commissioner Fitzpatrick, I think you did a great job getting out there in your district with your people and got very clear feedback. They want to see this happen. Commissioner Starkey, you bring out a very good point. What's going to happen to it? Well, I don't think the conversation about apartments or anything at this point is even a factor. I think it's now what's going to happen. When we put this MSBU forward, with the numbers we put in place, what was expected to pay that back, that can get started right now as soon as we get this interlocal together. In the next year, when they put a park together, they'll have time to talk about it through. We can change that number, tweak that number the following year like we do with our other MSBUs and figure it from there. But I think for everybody out there, for peace of mind, let's bring it forward, bring it back, let's get the interlocal done, and then have it on the tax rolls for the following year. If it takes another year to design the park, which can take time, you can work with residents, they can figure out what they want to get done. We don't have to worry about it, but we can at least give them the peace of mind that know it's going to happen.
No, and I agree with that. I just that if they're basing their decision on something that's not factual, I just wanted them to be able to have factual information to be.
I just don't want to see the issue get clouded, though. They
And
said
I
very
do
clearly.
not want to open up the MSBU. It's done.
So,
We've had that, we went through that already. If that's the way we're going to go, we got one, and not
Just bring it
make a
back
new
to
one.
the
I would like to
agenda
either make the motion today or make sure the motion is on the agenda. When it comes back, it's the motion for notification to the property appraiser and tax collector.
Second.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, so
Yes.
you want to bring this back on the next meeting to have on the agenda as an item, right? For the west side.
The next
Okay.
meeting on the west
That's
side.
fine. Yeah, do that.
Okay, I got a motion and a second.
Wait.
You
Just,
don't need a
just
motion.
for Robert's rules, there was a motion and a second on a motion, and then you just made a new motion, so
I
I'm
was
confused.
clarifying that she's
I'm
stating
not
that
sure
to
that's what she said.
bring it back on the next,
Okay.
for the
State
next
your motion.
agenda.
State your motion.
State your motion again.
Well, I originally said I would prefer to make the motion today or make
No.
sure it comes on the agenda as the motion to notify the property appraiser and the tax collector at the next meeting.
You can't have one or the other in
Okay.
a motion. You have to either pick one or the other.
I don't want to be a nay, so we'll
Do-
just bring it to the next meeting.
Just bring it to the.
Due to it being on the west side and being a west side concern, I'll do a motion to continue it to the next meeting
You don't have
as an agenda.
It's not a
Not a
continuance.
continuance.
Oh, sorry.
You got,
I would like to make
what you want is a motion
motion
for
to
this to.
notify to the property appraiser and the tax collector at the next meeting.
Second.
It's- Just state you want it on as agenda item on the next meeting,
Yes.
right?
The agenda item, however, is to
Correct.
notify the tax
Okay, just to
collector
make
and the
sure we're on the same
property
page.
appraisers that you're
Okay.
moving forward to put this on the tax.
Okay.
Okay, so I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0.
All right.
All right.
You got
Okay.
it.
Y'all don't need to
Now
stay
we
for
never have to
anything
see
more
what
if you don't want.
Thank you, folks. All right, we'll move to R98.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can I just touch on Philly Lane real quick?
What?
I want to have staff get together with the lady in the audience as well to be a petition leader to get Philly Lane paved, raised up, to go forward, and I'll get the numbers later on above Meridian Lane, but at least to establish that.
Is that a
Got the
motion?
direction? All right, he's got the direction, we're good. All right, so there's Mike Carbella right there. Please meet him, and we'll get started there. Thank you.
What now?
That's good for now.
Good for now. All right, Mark, welcome.
Commissioner, just want to introduce the next item real quick. This is the adoption of your next version of your strategic plan, and that evolution that's built on your last strategic plan that ends effectively in 3 weeks at the end of this fiscal year. This will take us through the next 4 fiscal years and is aligned to the same 4 pillars that were in the old one, but many of the goals, objectives, strategies were adjusted for the new reality. The work on this actually started 2 years ago, so pre-pandemic. So a lot of this work happened during the pandemic. The pandemic obviously affected some of the work that we put into this and some of the outcomes, but Mark will go into some of the further details. But this was a whole team effort and actually a whole community effort because we reached out to stakeholders outside the organization to build this. And it should deliver a much improved product of the last strategic plan. And again, every one of these builds on the next one, so the next one will even build on this one in 4 more years. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mark and let him run through a short presentation.
Cool. Thank you, Dan. Mark Bellis, Performance Management. And I'll start with a little illustration of how important this is. I actually grew up in Oakland and in an area where we had a very, very old movie theater. And the theater was so old that they never played the first-run movies. They always played what we called back then B movies, which I don't remember any of the movies, but it was $1 to watch movies all day long as a kid. That was kind of cool on a rainy day.
Is this Oakland, California?
Oakland, California.
I went to that same movie theater.
That was you?
Yeah, in the summer they had movies you could, that old-fashioned, beautiful movie theater.
Very old
I've been there.
Very good. Now,
think I'm
I
older
don't
than you, though.
remember any of the movies specifically, but what I do remember is that in between the movies, they'd play what they called newsreels. And newsreels were the old black and white films of any number of things. There was one of a cat who was playing ping pong. There was another one of a lot of battle scenes and things out of World War II in Vietnam and Korea. But the one I remember the most was one of an archer, and his name was Howard Hill. Now, Howard Hill was probably the greatest archer in the 1920s and 30s, and actually watching this was fascinating as a kid because he would draw back an arrow, and at any time you pulled him 50 feet from the target, he would hit it dead bullseye right in the center. He was amazing. I actually saw him in one of those newsreels take out a second arrow, draw it back, and split the first arrow right down the center of the shaft. He was that good. He was amazing. Now, I don't know if any of you are archers. I know one of you who knows how to use the bullwhip very well. That one I do know. And I don't know you as far as being an athlete, but I can tell you one thing right now, that I could take any one of you here today out over here to the grass, set up a target 50 feet away from where you're standing, give you a bow and arrow, and in 2 hours' time, I could have any one of you hitting the target more consistently than Howard Hill could on his very best day. Any one of you, 2 hours' time. Provided we do 2 things. One, we blindfold Howard Hill. Second, we turn him around so he does not know in what direction the target lies. Here's my point. No matter how good you are at something, how can you hit a target you can't see? This strategic plan is your target that the body of work we do is aiming towards for the next 4 years and beyond. So it is incredibly important. And as Dan mentioned, we've been at this revision for a little more than 2 years now. And the idea is we had to really take a deep look at what was going on in our county and around us, inside and outside. We had to get a tremendous amount of feedback and look at a lot of information to try to build something to bring back to you that made sense based on what you told us your priorities are. So that is exactly what we did. We started with an environmental scan. You know that I have met with each of you individually over the past year, and we've talked through a number of different ideas and issues. We have opened this up to the entire community. We have both the voice of the customer. We have citizen surveys. We have our business surveys. We have our stakeholder surveys. We have meetings that we've done with the community, with citizens, to open up and understand what they believe are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of our county, and more specifically here, our county government. So our listening mechanism was on full speed for the last couple of years. We talked to community stakeholders and various groups throughout the county, again, meetings with each of you. We looked at data and information. We looked at current realities around our demographics. What does the citizenry in Pasco County look like? What does growth look like? What does it look like in our own workforce? We looked at the economy. What is coming up? What can we anticipate? What do we need to be ready for? We looked at potential legislation that could impact us. We looked at the way we are intending to use land, how we use it now and how we want to use it in the future. We looked at the technology requirements to run this county over the next 4 years. And then we looked specifically at what we had been doing so far in our own performance. How did we do on the last strategic plan? How did we do in our own individual plans, our work plans, and within our departments in meeting our levels of service and achieving what the customers require? So they had this huge body of information and data that we then began to distill down into common themes. So we had strategic advantages, we had strategic challenges, and then we looked at that in comparison to what we had in our plan for the 4 years we're ending now, and what did we think, and based on your feedback, needed to change, stay the same, move forward. And again, the first conversations I had with all of you were around what we had come up with, and you gave us thumbs up, thumbs down, and we made the changes accordingly. One of the things to show a difference, as Dan mentioned, this plan that we're moving forward with now, starting October 1, is much more robust. There was much more involvement in it, much more input, much more feedback. It was a very, in the 30 plus years I've been doing strategic plans, one of the best efforts I've ever seen, with everybody involved and everybody being part of the solution. So as we go through the plan, the goals you're going to see are addressing our strategic challenges. And they're the challenges that you gave us or verified and validated are still things that we need to look at. And that'll make sense as I walk through it here. So we, of course, have the reason we come to work every day, and that's to serve our community, to create a better future. We have in place now in the strategic plan a way to find out if we are really doing that. I'll share that with you today. And of course, the objective overall, long-term, our vision is to become Florida's premier county. The way we measure that, are all of our programs operating at top decile as compared to the other counties in the state? That's part of it. Are we able to win every award we go after? That's part of the validation. It's not about the awards, but it's about being that good as we take this journey from good to great. And of course, if we are going to become Florida's premier county, you verified that there are 4 big things we have to do. We have to create a thriving community, enhance the quality of life. We've got to stimulate economic growth, and we have to support all of these by continually improving performance across the organization. So how did we then take these giant blocks and drill down to more manageable bites that we can turn into the work that we do in the organization to make this happen? So the next chart you see up here is we developed goal teams. And the way this works is the very top line up there. Those are the 4 strategic objectives, or the 4 pillars you saw in the last. Those are the major components of a thriving community. The next line is around accountability. Each of us at the executive level are now accountable for achieving these objectives. You see there's 2 of us attached to each one. So this is another difference from the last strategic plan. There's direct accountability to make this happen. So then the next line there, the first with the 4 blocks each, those are those strategic challenges, which we also call the intent of the goal. The intent of the goal is to actually address and move the needle in a positive direction toward those challenges, to meet those challenges. Then if you go down one more level, you'll see that in order to get that work done, we had to build teams or groups of those folks whose body of work is addressing those specific challenges. So a good example here for today is goal 1.1 is around abating flooding. So the people whose work addresses that, you'll see up there, you've got Public Works, you've got Planning, you've got BCS, you've got Parks and Rec. Those are the groups whose body of work generally comes together to address flooding issues. So they became the goal team. And their job as a goal team, so again, here we're across departments, we're across branches. As a goal team, it was their job then, working with their teams all the way through the organization, looking at all this information we had through the environmental scan to determine what body of work needed to be achieved to make that goal happen or to move the needle positively on that goal. So out of that goal, they determined a few things. First of all, what the goal language should be anyway. And you see that you've got a working copy in front of you. The published copy will be coming out after it's adopted. But you'll see that there's the goal language itself. Then there are the strategies that group determined needed to happen to achieve that goal. So then those are also in big blocks, and I'll drill it down here in a minute. Then they determined the key performance indicators or measures to apply to those strategies to make sure they're being achieved. Again, accountability. We're watching this thing now, all the way along the line. And then, even more importantly, each of these goals has an outcome measure which then tells us whether or not we're achieving our mission of serving our community to create a better future. So I'll share more of that here as we go along. So we drill down just in the creating a thriving community, and we look at goal 1. You can see goal 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4. Each of those has a different challenge that they are meeting, a strategic challenge that they are addressing. And that group, you can see, that is putting together their body of work to achieve it. And at the bottom line, you'll see that there's also a goal owner who not only is responsible for the development of these goals, but they and their teams will be responsible for achieving them over the next 4 years. So there again, a whole nother level of accountability with this particular strategic plan. So walking through a few of these things, and if you have questions or anything on here, I'll show you how it drills down here in just a little bit, because now it's nice to have a 4-year plan, but how do you drill it down into an annual plan and into the activities and actions that are happening in the specific programs and departments. But just to walk you through here, this hasn't changed from the time that I reviewed it with all of you. I'm going to go through the challenge here, and then if there's specific questions or anything around that, go ahead and jump in at that point. Goal 1.1, goal 1 is, the objective is to create a thriving community, and the challenge we're addressing in 1.1 is around flooding. So again, even here today, we hear that that's a challenge that we face as a county. So all of the body of work within point 1 is designed to do that. 1.2 addresses our transportation and our infrastructure. So this is around road repairs, maintenance, those types of things. Goal 1.3 is our utilities infrastructure and their ability to keep up with growth and to continue to upgrade systems and keep up with where we're going as a county. And really in the same idea here, 1.4 is around addressing development and also redevelopment. So all of the work that you see, and you again have the copies that show the strategies and the KPIs that we walked through before, that gives greater detail in this. Objective 2 is really about enhancing quality of life. So 1, of course, public safety. A lot of focus on public safety, always will be, and that's extraordinarily important. This goal 2.2 is really addressing service delivery to generally underserved populations or those that might be stressed populations. So that has to happen there, that body of work. 2.3, addressing the quality of life opportunities. This is really, if you look at over time, we've asked our citizens many times if you are willing to pay for quality of life services. Up till the GO bonds, the answer was generally not. The GO bonds were a vote of confidence that A, the decisions we're making here are very good, and B, we're willing to pay for those services that make our lives better. And so that's what that specific goal is around 2.3. 2.4 is around our continued efforts around land conservation. Objective 3 is about the economic growth piece. 1 is our own fiscal health. So 3.1 is the health of our own organization. You see that going on. You see that with our fund balances and the way that we've been able to use some of the federal funds coming in very, very smartly. 3.2 is around commercial growth, making sure that we're doing that properly, that it is bringing in employment, it is bringing up a higher level of income and so forth to the county. Stimulating economic growth. 3.3 is around business-friendly operations. So making it easy for folks to do business here, to bring their companies, to bring their operations, and to do business and build here and build their businesses. 3.4 is around collaboration. This is something that really each of you said you wanted to see throughout this plan. So we made sure that it was a common thread, because we can't get to Premier by ourselves. We have to have collaboration between the private sector, our other constitutionals, and the public as well. And again, all of this has to go over with an umbrella over it of continuously improving the way that we do what we do. So first of all, 4.1, making sure that we are focused on customer service, that we are not about telling people no, we're about telling people how they can get done what it is they want to get done. And if you have to tell them no, tell them in a way that they understand it, makes sense, and they're good with it. We want to make sure that we also take care of our internal workforce. And you can see one of the things, thank you, board, Dan has brought a lot of things to you that you've approved that have helped us to attract, retain, and grow a very, very good workforce. We have outstanding people working for us. They were all part of this design. They were all part of the execution of it. So a thank you on their behalf, too, on our behalf with that. The other ones here to look at is, of course, improving everything we do, whether it's a process, whether it's a policy, just the way we do our work, looking at it, making it as close to the requirements of our customers as possible, making sure that our folks have the tools, technology, and so forth to get the work done. And innovation, this wasn't our last plan, but this one has a lot more behind it, because we also realized that there are things going on in other communities, other countries, that we could be learning from, and that we could have some really large steps forward by looking at best practices outside of even our own industry. So again, the golden threads throughout this new plan: resiliency. This was something that always came up, whether it was in groups of citizens, SWOT analysis, whether it was our own folks internally, an awful lot of concern about the future, which is good. So one of the things that you'll see in this plan is not just a 4-year horizon, but looking at what we're going to need to be doing over the next 4 years to prepare us for what's going to happen in the next 15, 20, or even 30 years. So you'll see a lot of that thought process. You'll see a lot of folks are actually building resiliency plans to make sure that we are prepared and that we are sustainable. One of the things that's unique about Pasco is that we've really got 3 things in this county going on at once. We have the maintenance of what exists, we have redevelopment in those areas that require it, and we have growth. If you look at the counties to our south, they have maintenance and redevelopment, but not so much growth. And each of these requires a lot of different things. So all of this had to be taken into consideration as this plan was developed, particularly around the strategies that we need to roll it out. And of course, the other common thread is collaboration at every turn in this particular plan. So we're really happy about how that worked out. So now you have this big plan. Again, great big chunks that we've got to achieve. How do you break that down into smaller, more manageable bites that all of us in our departments and our programs can actually achieve? Well, if you take a look at this example here, and this is a public works example, there may be a few things that are different there in their particular plan. But on the right-hand side, those 4 items really represent what you would see in a business plan. So perhaps in a public works business plan, you'd see that for goal 1.1, which is around flooding, they would have things like making sure that their maintenance levels are maintained or bringing them back, or they might do a resiliency action plan, or there might be several major pipe projects. Those are the bodies or the pieces of work within that department that then help to achieve a strategy in the strategic plan. And of course, this one is around maintaining and rehabilitating as necessary to abate flooding, which supports goal 1.1, which is to abate flooding altogether, which then supports the objective to create a thriving community. So you can see all the way through the organization to individual contributor level, folks realize that the work they are doing all the way out to the furthest field level, they know that what they're doing is aimed at achieving what is in the strategic plan, which links it together and gives folks the ability to be part of something even bigger than their individual job. And I think that just the number of folks that were involved in developing this really told us a lot about the kind of folks we have on board that do want to be part of something this big. So that was an exciting piece. We talk about accountability and tracking, all the way from the vision down to individual contributors. We are able to set the expectations for performance and back up the line the other direction. We're able to measure at every level how well we're doing. It is our objective to make sure that we are able to publish, and we're publishing, we want to do this on the website at some point when it's ready to go, scorecard to show you and the citizens how well we're doing on the strategic plan. So that's a goal we have right now. And really looking at the type of measures that we do, you'll see that in the working copy you have, everything gets measured. What gets measured gets done. It helps us to improve things quicker. It helps us to make sure we're on track, make sure that we are in fact aimed at that target that you have set for us with your strategic plan. The one piece in this that's going to be very different from the last plan is those outcome measures. And if you think about it, we measure a lot of stuff here. We have inputs and outputs, which is how much do we do? How many potholes do we fill? How many animals did we rescue? We have all sorts of data around that. We have some data the next level up, which is around quality. So not just how much do we do, but how well do we do it? So do we do it on time, on budget, within specifications? We have some of those measures too. But the ultimate measure is not how much do we do, or how well do we do it, but is anybody better off because we did? That's our mission. So we now have measures, outcome measures for all 16 goals that point to whether or not what we did in that body of work made a difference in the community. So that's something brand new this year. We're very happy with that, and that's what we're going to report out to you on a regular basis. So that is the next evolution of where we're going. We are on the journey from good to great. I can tell you that in the past 10 years, from what I have seen here, we are better than we have ever been. We are a very good organization. We are operating very, very well. Is it enough? No, we want to get to great. We want to get to great. We want to get to premier. We want to be that top decile. And the things that are going on now, the work that you're seeing, the way things are being run and managed, and the input and the buy-in at all levels is the best that I've ever seen here. So it's really exciting. So with that, I would answer any questions and then ask you to adopt this.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown.
Mark, great presentation. I think the team did a phenomenal job putting all this stuff together. As you brush through this high-level presentation, the information I got a little bit different than your slideshow, so it was, I figured I'd let you go through the whole thing before I want to go back and touch on a few things. And
sure.
I'd like the real board to do the same as I talk about these things, and in case you get your own to jump in. But go back, if you go back to 1.1, where it talks about. What's that?
Oh, no, sorry. You're good.
When we're addressing drainage, flooding, infrastructure, you mentioned Pinellas County and how they don't have new growth coming, but they got redevelopment coming. One of the things we do differently, and we've talked about this at the board before, it's not the first time we had the conversation, but I never heard it measured, is when Pinellas County does a redevelopment structure that goes in, once they're done, the time clock starts all over for, let's say, the 50% rule. We're treating that different. We talked years ago about separating out roofs, air conditioners. You could even separate out flooring. And we don't do it that way, and I think it really hurts us on redevelopment up and down, also I'd say US 19 especially, up and down the coast. I'd like to get a measurement, because the only objection I've heard is it may affect our rating. Well, what does that rating mean to us, and how much does it affect them? And maybe do some research on why Pinellas County says if it does affect their rating. They're doing other things as well to keep us, I think they're at least as high rated as we are. Let's go take a close look, dive into that, go measure it. Go find out what would it be if we did go to the 50% rule that changes after permit. And there's an effect, but let's go find out what it is. No one's ever measured that. I've never got that detail back. And I think it is a critical thing for the future for us to look at. Going on to 1.2, key performance indicators. One of the things that it talks about is increasing transit ridership by 3% from the same month in the previous year. Now, we've never done this, and those you might have heard, I just came back from Switzerland, so I got a couple of ideas I want to kind of bring out. In Switzerland, they don't have a bus system. Even their rural farm areas, those people take the regular transit to and from school back and forth. I think it's something maybe we should look at real closely. Maybe it doesn't work everywhere, but let's go take a look at it. The people there, they don't want to wait in line like our mums do for all these things. They find a way to get their kids there. We've already got the buses running. Maybe it means we double the amount of runs, maybe increase some of the frequency in the morning, whatever it may be. But let's maybe try to work with the school, but to kind of find out, is that something that can be working together to kind of put some efficiencies in there? I mean, let's face it, when the buses are running empty, it's not helping anybody. Another thing it talked about is maintaining an average payment condition rating of 80 to 84. Now, it was about 4 years ago that little road up and down from, let's say, 52 down to the south was just falling apart. People having to move in, move out, move in, move out, because it was unraveling. Recently, we had APS do a presentation in front of the MPO. In front of the MPO, they showed a video from Embassy up to, I think, Fox Hollow, and it showed all the potholes that are starting to peel out. Now, it happened to be, from that presentation forward, staff had gone out there and repaved them all and filled in a lot of those holes. I will tell you, at least 50% of those holes are already peeled back out and they're holes again. And now there seems to be even more. So it's going to be continual over and over again. We can make that standard happen just by saying we want it done. And we can go further to say to DOT, we want to increase those standards too. Because drive down 19, it was, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, it was unraveling. It was supposed to be 4 more years before DOT was going to redo it again. Well, we put pressure on DOT, they came in, they redid the road. And now it's unraveling again, not everywhere, but certain spots. The technology of that straight seal going across, and maybe we can look at closely, are we making the asphalt thick enough? Is something we should go look at to get a longer life. So let's go do these roads once and be done. In all my time at Switzerland, it's funny, the technology they were using is the same as what we're proposing here, and that technology has been out for 20 years. They've been using it. I did not see a single pothole in any busy street, intertwined street, anywhere. Even when I was out to the farms, we kind of like took a bike ride, went around through the farms and all those areas, not a single pothole was there. They had some cracks, whatever, and they did crack sealing, but I'm not saying the roads were perfect there, but not a single pothole to go out there. So I think when we're gonna go for these goals, they're great, they're high level, but I think now's a good time when you've got this information that's out in front of us, let's go find a way to execute it and bring it forward. And I think the board's already voted to consider it and bring it back, and DOT is looking at it. Going to 2.4. Talked about improving water quality by preventing pollutants, hazardous materials from entering natural waterways through regulatory educational programming. Currently, we can go up and down the whole coast. Certain areas, Gulf Harbors, whatever, the runoff that goes right in there, it goes right from the roadway, right into the canals, and that's where we have all the biggest silt coming in. Between DOT, between the county, I think we need to protect these waterways better. I mean, in Switzerland, I tell you, walking down their main streets in Interlaken, it was like Disney World. You know, you walk in Disney World, it's clean as can be. It was just like that. I saw a landscaper guy who was cleaning up, trimming some trees up, and I didn't see any brush around when he got done. They swept it all up, they took it all away. We need to go take that type of move and make sure we do the same thing. I think all these coastal communities that have the canalways, we have grass up next to it, even the golf courses like Beacon Woods, we have the canalway that goes, and you've got grass that's going in there, that's got fertilizer going in there.
That's right.
I think Pinellas County has got some type of rule which you need to go investigate. Janet Long actually mentioned it at the last meeting we had at Regional Planning Council, where they prohibit any clippings to go into the canal. And I've had people in even Beacon Woods say, look, I've got this Floritam island that's coming in front. I said, well, what are you doing to hold your grass back? We need to go take a look at that. Every one of the, not only the coastal canals that are around there, but anything connects to it, that any of these waterways, because all those pesticides, all those fertilizers are going and affecting us. And if there's some ideas we have about how to protect it better that way, then let's go take a look at it. And if that means there's a cost involved, right, to get rid of this stuff and where it's going to go, if it means working with our own waste management group to allow them to go take those clippings and other brush that's there and give them a free place to go deposit it so they don't get charged, so they do collect it and they do make it go, it's what we should be doing. I think up in New England, for years they've had these giant paper bags that take all the clippings and they put them in that. They'll store it in there and then they kind of decompose it from there. Maybe with Merrill Brothers we can work with them to help make that happen, help facilitate that. But I think it'd be a much better way to go than, every 20, 30 years watching our canals get silted in, pesticides go in, water quality goes down. I mean, from what I saw pictures years ago with Hudson, the fishing was phenomenal. I think slowly it's gone down. I think we're on the way back, but I think this is something we can go take a look at and bring it back. One thing interesting as far as runoff goes, from the glaciers up above where the rainwater comes down, at Interlaken, they had the canal that ran right through it. They put hard body across the board to protect their waterways. They had flow from the street, direct discharging into the waterway. Now, the advantage they have is they have a lot of electric cars, a lot of diesel, a lot of high-performance cars, and they have very little grass everywhere. It's like all asphalt, but it's all clean every step of the way. So that runoff didn't pollute the waterway. It doesn't pollute the waterway. Mark, you spent some time in Switzerland. You notice how clean it was. Catherine, I'm sure you've been there. Jeremy, et cetera, right?
When you travel, you learn great things.
I'm telling you, I'm learning from you.
Yeah.
But really, these ideas that what they do are good. Now, in the valleys, from the farms that were there, and I think some may have been organic farms, whatever, but literally from the farmway, they had a canal running down, I don't know how far, but through the farm, through the roadway, out into the Gulf direct. And along it, there was just a wild grass bank. And in it, though, the seagrass was flourishing. all the way through. They had a couple of areas where they'd stop it, so they collect the grass that might be flowing through, so it didn't get into the canal, but they'd hold it, and there must have been a way for someone to just go in there and just clean it out and go. Little bridges walking over, and then boats parked all the way along. It was amazing using, where they don't have as much land, let's say, as the United States of America, how they maximized every bit of their use every step of the way. And I think that's, again, something we go take a look at and learn from. And as far as ecological percentage land, I know we've had some great people working for us in the past. Maybe we need to, if those people have retired, still work, maybe we can bring some back. I won't mention by name, but could be some opportunities. Now, let me ask another question. Let me go to 3.4. In trying to work with contractors that are doing work up and down all over the county, sometimes you get a building that's in position where there's going to be a change in the structure. It's a huge ordeal. Some people tell us to go through the whole process. Some are trying to know what to do. They make mistakes. Sometimes they just ignore it because they want to ignore it. But someone brought up an idea to me that years ago, if you applied for a permit, you could apply for the permit and start the work. Now, you did it at your risk in case you weren't doing it right and someone calls you out on something. But instead of having to wait the whole process of going through, waiting for a permit to be approved, which could take 6 weeks, it could take 6 months, someone can get the work done, have the inspections done when needed be, but at least it wouldn't hold them up as long. And I'd like us to take a look at that, because sometimes it could be a simple firewall that's going up, changing out a window, changing out a roof, other things that are just holding people up. I mean, it could be someone doing docks, whatever it may be. If they're going to follow the code, they've got their license, they're licensed by the state, which is the most important license, that they know how to do the professional work, let's give them some slack to let them get started. And I haven't even talked to Sally about this. It's something I had a conversation yesterday with someone and just, talking to Mark, I figure, okay, do I bring it up now or whatever? I figure now's the time to bring it up. But I think there's ways we can make it better for our contractors doing work, which is better for our citizens doing work. And it just, if we're going to make this strategic plan, I want to bring these ideas out right now, what's in front of all of us, so that we can say, this makes sense. And I want to say one other thing that I'm not sure where we're tying the project, but in Switzerland, driving along the roadway, again, roadways are perfect. Sometimes they hit the berms. Matter of fact, do you have that tape? The 25-second video? Yeah.
I think we can bring it up, yes.
It was tough getting, I'm in a bus taking videos, but there's a wall there, there's homes right behind it, so they're protecting the sound from that. Sometimes these roads are sunk down, there's commercial right on the edge of it. And it rotates out. Sometimes it's commercial, other times it's farmlands. Sometimes you'll see coming up, there's homes in the background that kick back up. But I think we should really take a close look at our certain roadways that if we have a scenic area, which I've got some people that want to do commercial stuff, they can't do it based upon the code, and I want to take a close look at that. But that's only one little section, but literally, sometimes there's wide open farmlands with a house in the back, sometimes they'll have a business right at the edge. I think we need to maximize what the opportunities for businesses are. And that's all I have, but again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other
Move for
questions?
approval.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Mark.
Move on to P99 or R99.
Good morning, Commissioners. The end of July marked my 1-year anniversary serving with honor as the Assistant County Administrator for Development Services. Now, Jordan. Okay, thank you. By way of local, state, and federal regulations and legislation, the branch offers a number of services to our customers, everything through administration, Office of Economic Growth, Planning and Development, building construction services and enforcement. And as you can see under those bullets, there are a lot of services that we offer. Next. The county is experiencing unprecedented growth at this time, and a lot of that growth impacts our branch directly. And as we strive to meet the demands of the customers for which we serve, we are also looking to how are we doing and can we do it better all the time. So I want you to know that on July 15th, we put together and sent out a stakeholder survey that was conducted strictly for our branch and the services that we're providing. The survey went out to over 6,000 customers, and those are individuals that have literally had interactions with the branch. We received 644 responses back, and of those 614 responses, something that was very important to me is that 517 of those that were responding were individuals that had actually had interactions with the branch within a year's time frame. So we weren't dealing with someone who had not interacted with us recently. This is the first ever survey that has been conducted to try and gauge where we are as a branch and the services. And what we see this is as an opportunity to set a benchmark as to where we are and as we continue to make improvements, how we're doing, because this is anticipated to be conducted annually. And I would like to say that we did not want to engage an outside agency to conduct this survey. We wanted to do it internally. So we used our staff to come up with the questions that we thought were important to our customers and get feedback from those. So it cost us no more than the tool that we use on a regular basis to get feedback, because some of these surveys can cost upwards of $40,000. Next slide, please. The survey captured the percentage rating of various processes that our department offers, and it rated everything from very satisfied to not satisfied. Out of a possible 100%, planning and development department rated 64%, building construction services 72%, code enforcement 66%, and Office of Economic Growth 73%. We received a plethora of comments because we set the tool up to be able to get actual feedback from our customers. Those comments range from understanding the speed of turnaround for our residential developments because of the number of permits we're issuing, that they accepted that and they were impressed that we were getting back with them with better communication. And then on the flip side, comments for opportunities for us to improve was our timeliness in communication. So we're going to be looking at those in detail and following up with individuals. Next slide, please. Again, these are the ratings that I just referred to as far as of the 100% that we seeked information from on the various processes. Thank you. Next slide, Jordan. Planning and Development Department, there's currently 73 and a half team members in that department, and in the proposed budget, we're asking for your approval of 10 additional new positions. Now, just for your information, not including any emails or cell phone calls or individual line calls, the branch just on their customer service line received 25,000 landline calls last year. Over the past 8 months, they've received, 25, over the past 8 months, they've received over 20,000 calls to date. The end of this month, In 2020, 271 site plan processes were received, and over the last 8 months, we've already exceeded last year's total of the 271 to having 422 active site plan reviews under consideration at this time. And as you know, with our site plan review process, we have pre-application meetings for those. And right now, those are slated out to January with the number of requests that we're receiving for reviews. Next slide, please. Code enforcement has currently 32 staffs, and again, in our budget request for this year, we're asking for 2 additional positions to conduct proactive code enforcement. Again, not including emails, cell phones, and regular calls to individuals. They received over 18,000 landline calls last year, and right now, to date, just in the past 8 months, they've received over 15,000 calls for services. In 2020, there were 88 proactive sweeps that took place, and those proactive sweeps included everything from looking at signs, junk cars in neighborhoods, trash and debris in certain areas, just trying to get out and look at those items and do some proactiveness, including, where we go out and set up cleanup for neighborhoods within different districts. This year, over the past 8 months, there's been over 260 proactive sweeps that have taken place during this year. January through August timeframe, code enforcement has addressed almost 9,000 complaints. And there's an increase, this is an increase of over 600 complaints from last year at the same time. We currently are addressing 9,670 complaints with the load that we have and the current staffing that is in place of 32. What I want to talk about that is commendable, I know we always have areas that we can improve upon with code enforcement activities, but I want to say that the approach that the code enforcement team takes as being proactive in using educational efforts to try and get people to understand, what the code is doing instead of, putting a hard hammer. By education alone, they've been able to get compliance with over 99% of those individuals that are being reviewed or looking for enforcement actions for code complaints. Now, always you're going to have those challenging ones, and again, this team has done a fantastic job, and they're up for the challenge. Next slide, please. Building construction services. The current staffing in building construction services is 156 staff members. We're asking again in the budget for 14 new positions, not including phone calls that come to individual cell phones, individual landlines, or emails. They have received, just through their customer service line, almost 100,000 calls for services. In the last 8 months, they've received almost 70,000 alone. New single-family home permits, as you know, have taken off in Pasco County. And in 2020, there were 5,741 new homes issued. And at that time, last year, it was taking 21 days, almost 23 days to process a new single-family residential permit. Over the last 8 months, BCS has issued 6,317 new single-family home permits, and it has taken an average of 8.5 days. So you see a marked difference from 22 days to 8.5 days. and this is due in part to a great team working extremely hard, looking for innovative ways to improve service. Working with the Tampa Bay Building Association and their goal with working with administration and the commission, we're looking for a turnaround of 10 days in the building permitting activity for single-family residential. And as you can see, we have met that goal and we've exceeded that goal. And I'm hoping with the changes that we're continuing to make that we will continue to exceed that goal. With our commercial permitting, we're up as well this year, and right now we're embarking on a major effort to streamline the way we're processing commercial permits. We know that we have some software challenges. We know that we have some challenges with this is how we've always done it, this is how it's laid out, but we have a team that is very innovative and ready to see change to make things better for our customers. Next slide, please. With permitting comes inspections. And with our inspections, over 147,000 inspections was conducted within the first 8 months of 2020. And that only included about 0.35% of rollover. And what that means, of all the inspection requests they're receiving, less than 0.5% had to be rolled over because they weren't able to meet their needs. This means that the inspectors are working a lot of hours and on weekends if possible to get inspections done to meet the customer needs. Now, over the last 8 months of this year, they have conducted over 202,000 inspections, and they still have less than 1% rollover with regard to not being able to do the inspection on the day that it was called. I will say again, the team is doing an outstanding job to meet customer service needs. Over the past 8 months, a total of 44,000 permits have been issued, of which over 7,000 more than the same time this time last year. And what does this mean at the end of the day to our citizenry, to the board? This means that over $2 billion will be added to the tax roll in the near future. Next slide, please. In order to continue to meet the service demands of the branch, there have been reorganizations. Some key team members have been hired. A lot of team members working on a regular basis to look at ways to improve our process and make outstanding contributions on a daily basis. We have a great team in place, and this includes our most 2 recent hires, which is Roy Major, who was hired to help oversee administration as the Building Construction Director of Administration, and he's been here about 4 months. And that change has enabled us to have more depth in the organization and availability to be responsive to our customer needs. In addition, we added a position, and I thank the commission, Dan, and even Mark Ballas for bringing to our attention. And I brought this to you in January to get funding for a position of business support manager, and about 3 months ago, we brought on Matt Campbell, who's serving as our liaison, assisting our business community with getting through our development processes, because we know that it can be confusing to anyone, and Matt is doing an outstanding job. For the sake of brevity, I want to take a minute and say I provided you with just a snippet of all the things that the Development Services Branch work to accomplish with meeting our citizens' needs. I'd like to thank you, the commissioners, and I'd like to thank Dan Bowles, our county administrator, for your support as we have tried to work our way through some very challenging times with regard to trying to make changes while dealing with the workload that we have. I'd like to ask the branch members that are in attendance today just to stand up and be recognized. Thank you so much. I also want to acknowledge all the hard work that has been accomplished and is being accomplished on a daily basis by this team, and to let them know, and they know from me, how much they are appreciated for what they do. I see them in the mornings when I walk in at 6:30, going into the office to start work, not to leave early, but to meet our needs. We see them on the weekends coming in to work to meet the needs of our customers. They are extremely, extremely dedicated team members, and as we continue to serve the community in keeping with our strategic plan to create a better community, a better future for all those involved, we want to continue to do that with integrity, respect, service innovation, and service excellence. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mariano.
Mr. Chairman, Sally, I'm so glad you have joined the organization. I want to say that you have a passion to get this as good as you possibly can, and I think you're making a lot of great steps. Bringing on Roy, Matt, I think it inspired Anthony Mastraccio to come back as well. That's another big plus. So it's a very good sign as we're heading. I want to say the survey that you put out, I can't give you enough accolades for doing that. I remember years ago when we first brought Urban Land Institute in to look at the county, and John Gallagher at the time brought them in and pushed for them to come in. And he knew when he did it, it wasn't going to look that great for the county. But at least it gave us a start. And I think as you talk to everybody in the organization, everybody else throughout the county, we're getting closer and closer to premier. But as Mark Bella says, you've got to go take a look at yourself and be willing to go take a look at yourself to be able to measure. Now, the numbers that are there in the 60s, et cetera, you get a baseline to work with now. I mean, I think we should be shooting for 90, 95% to get there. But I want to, again, to give you the credit to take a look at to find out where you're at. That's very, very impressive. If I could, I'll just talk a couple of things. One of the things, as far as to improve the process a bit, that was brought to me, and you don't have to even get the full detail. I'll just tell you now where everybody's looking at. I guess when some people submit site plans, they do it electronically, correct?
Yes, sir.
If they do a revision, it's going to be brought in?
They can submit that electronically as well. I'm almost certain, but I'll double check as to why they can't submit.
I heard differently, so I don't know, and that's why I'm asking the question.
Now, is this on site plan, building permit?
On a site plan for a building permit, I guess, yes.
They can submit their revisions. Now, we did have a challenge with our system, but we set it up and fixed it where they can submit their revisions online, because we used to have staff help them, but now it has been fixed.
Okay. One of the thoughts out there, sometimes if someone's going to call for an inspection, and by the way, the lack of rollover, I think you're using view specs is phenomenal.
Yes, sir.
Helps with the team and everybody getting trained. I'm delighted to see how well you're doing with that as well. Great technology, and I know Eric was a big part of trying to help kick that along as well. So sometimes our people have to wait. They have to put someone in the building all day long waiting for that inspection to happen because we don't know what time it's coming. Maybe we could take a look at having an inspector call when they're going to head there from one to the other. It might be a good communication to kind of roll them over quick, because that might speed up everything and make it a lot easier for the business as well. But I want to say I appreciate the attention you're giving. I mean, my assistant Sonia is working diligently with the people, and I know everything out there is great. But the way your team has been working at it and working at it, I appreciate it. I know we're heading the right direction. And again, I am so encouraged by your doing that survey for yourself to find out where you're at. So keep up the great work. And thanks to all the team out there. Keep working at it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I too want to commend you for this survey and for the improvements in your department, and I know you guys are working really hard. The additions of Matt and Roy, fantastic. It's really, I just heard nothing but great accolades and how you guys are so needed, and I'm sure you know that. So, dealing with the things you do every day. I did have a question on the length of time for the pre-app meetings, and what can we do in the short term to shorten that time? I think we're up to 4 months to get a pre-app meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just wondered if there's anything we could do to kind of help that.
Terry Pitos, the Director for Planning and Development, we are currently working together with his team to improve that portion of our process.
So is it more planners that we need, or?
We are getting more planners, but we want to take a look at how can we streamline the process and improve when they have to go through an approval process or when they could just simply go on and submit their site plan. But we're looking at it in detail right now. Terry, did you have anything else?
And I've been working with Terry a lot lately, and Terry, I just absolutely love working with you. I think we're really moving the county forward in a good way. I just wish there were more of you.
You can tell that they don't get any sleep because they don't have time to shave between him and the rest of the team.
And this is,
Was that just for Terry, Commissioner? Was that just for Terry?
No.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nick Targos, Planning and Development Department. Yes, we are working on it. We recognize that the pre-app schedule is very long, up to January now, as Sally noted. It's a logistical issue, not just with the Planning and Development Department, but it's also a logistical issue with all the other departments that participate in the process with us. So yes, you can add, theoretically, more planners to address the pre-application, but you would also have to double up the other positions in the other departments that participate in the pre-app process just to get more than the 8 or 9 pre-apps that we can do per week. So even if we wanted to increase that to 16, that would be a lot of other positions in the planning department in particular, but then also in the other departments. There are ways that we can address that without having to increase the workforce to do that. So we're looking at that. I can't make any announcements today because it's not really fleshed out, and I don't want to make promises and excite people and then everything falls apart. But we are working on a solution to the pre-applications.
I can see, with the popularity of our county, and if more and more people are wanting to do things here, that those pre-app times could get even longer. I wonder, it would be interesting to chart that rate of how quickly they're getting longer and longer, you know what I mean? So, but I don't know the answer, I just was bringing it to everyone's attention. It's now 4 months for pre-app meeting, so.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. So
We're a victim of our popularity.
Yeah, to answer your question about pre-app waivers, so go ahead.
yes, so we are currently, there are projects that apply for a waiver from the pre-app process.
Oh, okay.
So there are projects that do obtain those waivers and can advance themselves to the submittal stages for their applications.
And the other good thing to keep in mind, Commissioners, every hour spent on a pre-app is an hour not reviewing a site plan or a project that's been submitted. So there's a balance there that we're trying to maintain between the pre-apps and then reviewing projects that have actually been submitted or in our review.
Hey, I am a big favor of the pre-app meeting. As a matter of fact, Ms. Pitos and I met with someone before the pre-app meeting so that before they got too far down the road, they understood where we're coming from on, apartments and other things and what kind of development we want to see. So they didn't spend money with a planner and an engineer.
Smart.
Going too far down the road that they would have to redo.
Yep.
So, and I appreciate that. That's why I said I love working with Terry. We need 5 more of you. 5 more of you.
I appreciate everything you're doing, Sally. You've made the department stronger and better and moving forward, and the addition, of course, of Roy Major and Matt Campbell has been a very good portion of what's getting moved a little quicker to the team. The team's there working hard, and these guys will help streamline that so they can actually act on things a little quicker, which I think is streamlining that we need to happen. We want to do it the right way, but we want to continue streamlining to get it faster and quicker through the system. So, I mean, if we were not having so many projects, it'd be different, but we've got them piling up, as you know. So, but we appreciate your team members and all the staff that work in your department, because like we already have heard as commissioners, the people are telling us that it's 4 months out before they get a pre-app. So that's why you're hearing it from us today, is because we're just lately hearing that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it. Mr. Miles.
Yes, sir, we were just negotiating how long libraries actually had before we do the photo for the award that the commissioner wants to announce here in a little bit.
Yeah, what we're going to do, we'll do that, and the other two items we'll bring in this afternoon.
I was trying to get libraries out of here this morning, so I think she's about 3 minutes, right?
Oh, well, then she's 3 minutes.
How long is hers?
Yeah,
3 minutes? Okay, you want to do the picture now?
Mr. Chairman?
No, let's do it. No,
Mr.
we're
Chairman?
gonna do it outside. So
Sally, hang on.
Oh, we'll do
Mr.
this and then we'll break outside.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask Sally one more question? It's actually
One
two
more
more.
question.
yeah, because I got a meeting.
I know, no,
gotta-
it's gonna be
it's
real
gotta
quick.
be a short
Real quick, I don't even need the answer right now, but in the presentation with Mark Bellis, I asked about taking a look at, for some of our contractors, where they can submit and then start the work at their risk going forward. I guess it was done years ago. And if you have some inspections that really don't add value, that may not be needed, maybe we should look at getting rid of some of those. And I'll talk with you offline about it, but thank you again for all you do.
Made a note, Commissioner, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Good morning. I'll go quickly. I'm Nancy Fredericks with Pasco Libraries. I'm here to seek your approval for our strategic plan for the Pasco County Library Cooperative, which includes our 8 branches and the Zephyr Hills City Library. Our plan does align directly with the county strategic plan. It's with goal number 2.3, as Dr. Bellis presented earlier. The Florida Division of Library and Information Services requires the library to present and get approval for our strategic plan in order to receive state aid to public libraries. That's why I'm here today. We did assess the community through focus groups. We met with business leaders. We had surveys with our team. And we came up with 3 basic areas of focus. And as I said, they do align with goal 2.3. And they are community, education, and culture. We have a brief 2-minute video for you of our team members explaining a little bit more what that means. And you have the documents in front of you, so I don't need to review them. If you, once we watch the video, if you want to approve, then we're all set. Thank you.
Every 3 years, Pasco County Libraries develops a strategic plan to map out the direction of the library system. We work closely with stakeholders and residents in the community, listening to their concerns and wishes. As the county grows, needs change, and we are committed to providing you with a solid, robust library system that exceeds your expectations. As part of that growth, we are remodeling our existing libraries and building new ones. We are expanding our services and actively partnering with other county departments and organizations to bring you a library system you can be proud of. We've divided the strategic plan into 3 areas of focus: community, education, and culture. Each is equally important and speak to specific points that our public listening sessions revealed.
By fostering and curating a sense of community, Pasco County Libraries addresses one of its chief missions. It's our goal to expand what we offer to county residents, visitors, and business owners, and to attract new users. As part of this effort, we will increase outreach opportunities for community members and organizations to become involved with the library. Developing partnerships with community groups, civic organizations, nonprofits, chambers, and government agencies enhances our ability to reach more people where they live, work, and play.
Education is a core mission for libraries everywhere, and we are committed to offering learning opportunities for all Pasco County residents. We will provide access to an extensive collection of resources which support the diverse needs and interests of our citizens. In addition, we offer resources and programming to support lifelong learning, plus skill and knowledge development across multiple literacies.
We at Pasco County Libraries see ourselves as not only curators of culture, but creators of it as well. Culture has a direct impact on the quality of life in Pasco County and the greater Tampa Bay area. We have pledged to provide programming and activities that support self-expression, innovation, and community-based well-being. We will foster culture within Pasco County by offering a wide range of cultural programs at all the branch libraries and outreach locations. The next 3 years promise to be an exciting time for Pasco County Libraries as we dedicate ourselves to bringing you a premier library system full of growth and enrichment for our community. Join us in our journey forward and tell us how we're doing along the way. Thank you for your support.
Move for approval.
Second. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Good job.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank
Doing a
you.
great job.
Now, we're gonna break now for a picture.
Yeah, if we just add, wait, before Adam comes up, can you put that picture up real quick? There's a photo of Adam that was sent to you guys. You could put that up real quick. Team. There we go. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. You think he just won the Oscars, right? Yeah. So we do have an exciting tourism news today. Adam Thomas is going to come. Well, there he is. He's going to bring Mr. Flagler with him. And our destination management organization, Florida Sports Coast, won a 2021 Flagler Award last week at the annual Governor's Conference on Tourism by Visit Florida. And these are known as the Henrys. Hollywood calls them the Oscars. And Visit Florida calls them the Henrys. But I'm going to let you speak in a second, but it's the strategic decisions that are made by this board and the TDC, the team, and as well as the community to make these things happen. And without everybody working together, none of us would be where we are today. So I have a lot more I wanted to say, but I know we want to go on a break. But I want Adam to just tell you a little bit how and why they won this. And then if you would like to, Commission, my fellow commissioners, we go out this door, we go outside real quick by the fountain and take a quick picture. But you need to go now because we're going to do it no pass go, straight down and out, and we'll take that picture so everybody can go to lunch or go to their meetings. So, Adam, take it away.
Thank you, Commissioner Moore. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners. I'm honored to stand here today with Henry Flagler in my hand. And I've been in destination marketing for over 9 years, and this is the first time I've been able to achieve this accomplishment only by the hard work and dedication from your Florida Sports Coast team. This is in partnership with Escape Brewing out of Trinity, and it's a vision that we had about 2 years ago. And I'm extremely honored and proud to be, again, standing here with good old Henry Flagler. This is for marketing, and not necessarily for a beer, but this is for marketing and promotions to consumers to really understand what Florida Sports Coast is, and Mr. Biles is holding up one of our Yetis that we partner with.
What's in the Yeti?
With Escape Brewing. But there are a few organizations and some team members I'd like to acknowledge. One, Elizabeth Blair with the County Attorney's Office. This wouldn't be possible without her dedication to crafting an agreement with a local business in partnership with a local business to support a consumer product, not only for local residents, but also visitors alike. The TDC board, Commissioner Moore just acknowledged, Kathy Pearson, our Assistant County Administrator, and our very own County Administrator, Dan Biles, enjoys a Sports Coast Pilsner while watching his Aggies cheer on every Saturday. And we wouldn't be here without the support of them, and again, I'm honored to be here to holding Mr. Flagler.
A round of applause. Congratulations,
So one question. Adam, one question before we break.
Yes, sir.
So you're the reason that Wesley Chapel is growing so fast?
We are the reason collectively why the county and the destination is growing so fast.
So it's been a great job in the sports.
Thank you very much.
So if you'd like to be in the picture, commissioners,
right downstairs.
Let's go. All right, we'll break for lunch. Be back 1:30 for the public hearing.